I broke through a wall of flame and silence just to reach you in this exact moment, and the reason you cannot leave is this: a hidden truth about you is waiting to reveal itself in the very last breath of this message, and if you turn away now, the door that opened for you tonight will quietly close again, and I could not bear that. Thank you for being here. I am glad you came. I saw the courage it took for you to click this, even if you didn't know why your hand moved. I am speaking only to you, not to the world, not to the crowd, not to the past or the future, but to you as you are right now. Listen to the quiver in my voice, because it is not weakness, it is love so powerful it shakes eternity. I know what has been spoken against you. I know the strange jealousy, the hidden envy, the ill intent that tried to wrap itself around your name and your face and your future. You felt it, didn't you? A strange heaviness, a whisper of doubt, like a cold hand trying to dim your light. A woman with power in the world grew bitter in her heart, her ego rising like a storm, and she called darkness to try and touch your reflection. But hear me now, not one of those shadows ever had authority over you. 100 witches whispered your name, but one word from heaven outweighed every spell. I unsheathed my sword the moment their thoughts drifted toward you, and 100 archangels gathered as your shield before your breath even changed. I am not distant from you. I am trembling near you. I speak personally now, vulnerably. I have watched you when you thought no one was seeing you, and I wept for how strong you have been pretending to be. You carry more goodness than you realize. Your spirit is rare and gentle, and heaven knows your name with affection. When the psalm breathed, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" the wind itself said your name in response. And when Isaiah's words trembled through time, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," they were not floating in air, they were aimed like a promise, directly into your future. Tell me something, beloved soul, do you feel the warmth around you right now, like unseen wings moving the air? Have you wondered lately why your heart refuses to break even when the world tries to crush it? Do you know how many battles were stopped that you never even saw? And do you realize that heaven has been whispering your name in joy, not in judgment? You are not ugly. You were never ugly. That thought wasn't even yours, it was planted by envy. Your reflection holds divine fingerprints. Your eyes carry stories of past storms survived, and that makes you beautiful in every realm, seen and unseen. I say this with authority, their magic dissolved the moment it reached the edge of your light. And their pride will be undone not by destruction, but by truth, humility, and exposure. Ego cannot stand in the presence of pure spirit. Now, just once, softly and reverently, I ask you to type Amen, not for me, but as a signal that your soul has heard heaven. Do you feel the chains loosening? Do you feel the heaviness lifting from your shoulders, even slightly? That is not imagination. That is protection wrapping tighter around you. That is destiny aligning. Something beautiful is being rewritten as I speak. You are being redirected toward goodness, clarity, and unexpected favor. Doors you stopped knocking on will open by themselves. Voices that once doubted you will go silent. Even your own inner critic is beginning to forget how to speak. And in these final moments, I make a gentle request, not as a command, but as a shared heartbeat. If this has touched you, like it, let your presence echo in the comments, and stay with this channel, because your journey is now entwined with a greater light, and your story is not meant to walk alone. I thank you, oh, with tears that fall like sacred rain, for listening, for staying, for choosing light when you could have chosen nothing. Heaven noticed the way you held on. I noticed. I am grateful beyond words. And now, the hidden truth I promised at the end, the reason you were drawn here, it is this: your name is known in the unseen realms not as a victim of envy, but as a carrier of quiet miracles, as a soul marked to turn shadows into gold simply by continuing to exist. Feel that. Breathe that. Keep walking. Because even as my voice fades, my wings remain around you, trembling, guarding, loving, until the very end of time. And I am still here with you. I did not fall silent. I only drew closer. The air around you is thick with something sacred now, like the stillness that comes before a miracle decides to breathe. If you could see what I see in this moment, you would never doubt your worth again. I see a line of light drawn around your body. I see hands of fire and mercy resting over your head. I see paths unfolding that you have not yet dared to imagine. You thought this message was finished, but heaven does not rush love, and I will not leave you half-covered, half-healed, half-awake. There have been nights when you lay in bed and stared into the quiet, wondering if your life would ever truly change, wondering if you were meant for more or if this was all there was. Those thoughts came wrapped in exhaustion, in disappointment, in almost giving up. I was there too. Every time you sighed. Every time your chest tightened for no reason you could explain. Every time you smiled for others but felt invisible inside. My wings brushed the edge of your sadness, whispering, hold on just a little longer. And you did, even when you didn't realize you were obeying a divine voice. Let me tell you something now that will shake you in the most beautiful way. The jealousy that was aimed at you uncovered something powerful. It revealed how much light you carry. Darkness does not chase emptiness, it chases what glows. The moment your name stirred that woman's pride, the moment her ego trembled in your presence without you even trying, the heavens marked you as one to preserve, one to elevate, one to surround. 100, no, 1,000, unseen hands have been working since then, loosening knots, breaking patterns, unraveling curses that were never yours to carry in the first place. Do you remember the time you almost walked away from your dream? The moment you told yourself, maybe this isn't for me? I stood in that memory and guarded you until hope crept back in. Do you remember the times you felt unlovable, like you were always too much or not enough for the people around you? I wanted to take your face in my hands and show you yourself as heaven sees you. You are not difficult to love. You are vast, and oceans are not meant to fit inside cups. There is a scripture still trembling between worlds for you right now. The Lord upholds all who fall and raises up all who are bowed down. I am watching that happen in you. Your bowed places are lifting. Your wounded places are closing. Even your past, the part that still stings when you think about it, is being softened into wisdom, into compassion, into strength that will one day steady someone else. You will begin to notice small signs, a stranger's kindness, an unexpected opportunity, a sudden calm where anxiety used to live. These are not coincidences, these are confirmations. You are being repositioned. The ego that rose against you will fall away from your world, powerless, because love dissolves pride, and you are wrapped in love thicker than any wall she tried to build. You are safer than you have ever been. You are more seen than you have ever been. You are more chosen than you have ever been. And as my voice continues to wrap around you, let it become your own inner voice. Let it echo when the world grows loud. Let it answer when doubt comes knocking. Let it remind you, again and again, that you are not walking alone, and you never have been. And still I do not leave you. I feel your breath as if it were my own echo in this quiet space. I feel your thoughts turning, trying to make sense of the warmth that is wrapping around you now. You were never meant to understand everything at once. Some things are not for the mind. Some things are for the soul alone, and right now your soul is wide open like a field after rain. You are changing, even as you read these words. It is subtle, like the shift of light at dawn, but it is real. Something old inside you is loosening its grip. An identity you wore only because you were hurt is beginning to fall away. Do not be afraid of that emptiness when it comes. What feels like a loss is actually sacred space being made for what is true about you. And what is true about you is more beautiful than the life you were taught to settle for. I have seen the rooms you sat in and felt too small. I have seen the moments you swallowed your words to keep peace. I have seen your kindness, even when it was not returned. Those things were not wasted. Every gentle piece of you was counted as an offering, and heaven does not forget offerings made in silence. They come back multiplied in time. You wonder sometimes if goodness will ever choose you back. It already has. Soon, you will feel a pull towards something new, a place, a person, an idea, a path. It may feel unexpected. It may even frighten you a little because it will be unfamiliar. But that pull is not danger. It is alignment. When you feel it, lean in instead of stepping back. You are ready for more than survival now. You are ready for expansion, for softness, for joy that does not apologize for its size. And listen closely now, the protection around you will not only defend you, it will attract. People who once ignored you will begin to notice your presence. Opportunities that once passed you by will circle back. Do not question whether you deserve it. You do. You always have. The only thing that delayed it was the moment you forgot how worthy you were. I want you to begin speaking to yourself differently when you are alone. The next time your mind tries to call you small, answer it with truth. The next time your past tries to define you, remind it that it no longer has authority. The next time fear tries to visit, let it see that you are no longer an empty house, but a temple filled with light and guarded by more than it can comprehend. You will stumble sometimes. That is still human. You will have days when you forget this feeling. That is still human. But something permanent has been sealed in you tonight, a knowing, deep and quiet, that you are not abandoned, not cursed, not overlooked. And that knowing will rise up when you need it most. I am proud of you. Not for what you have achieved, but for the way you have kept your heart alive in a world that tried to harden it. Few can do that. Fewer still are chosen to be guarded the way you are. And as I begin to step back now, as the veil gently closes and the air returns to normal, carry this with you: you are watched over, not in fear, but in love. My presence does not vanish. It simply becomes invisible, woven into the moments ahead of you, into the choices you will make, into the courage that will rise when you think you have none left. Walk forward now, precious soul. Walk knowing that you are surrounded. Walk knowing that something extraordinary has already begun. And even when you no longer hear my voice, you will feel it in the strength of your steps, in the peace of your nights, in the quiet certainty that you are held, guided, and deeply, endlessly cherished. You said. And I stay with you a little longer, not because you are weak, but because you are precious. There is a difference. I do not linger for those who are powerless, I linger for those who are becoming. You are in the middle of transformation, and the space between what was and what will be can feel lonely, confusing, even frightening. That is why my presence feels strong now, why my voice seems close, because in between moments deserve the greatest tenderness. You have spent so long adapting to survive that you almost forgot what it feels like to simply exist as yourself. You learned to read the room, to change your tone, your shape, your words for the comfort of others. You became a master of being what was needed. But who have you been when no one was needing anything from you? That is the self now being called forward. That is the self I recognize. That is the self heaven has always been in love with. There are parts of you that are still afraid to hope. Parts that whisper, don't get excited, it will only hurt again. I understand why they speak. They learned that language through pain. But I am here now to teach them a different one. A softer one. A stronger one. One that says, it is safe to receive. It is safe to bloom. It is safe to be seen. The world tried to measure you by shallow standards, beauty, status, approval, comparison. That woman whose ego burned in jealousy was only reacting to her own emptiness. She did not see you. She saw a mirror she could not control. She saw light she could not buy or command, and it unsettled her. But what unsettles the proud is often what heaven protects the most. You were never in danger from her. She was in danger of facing herself. And that is a battle no spell can win. You may notice now that when you enter a space, people react differently. Some will feel comfort. Some will feel admiration. Some may even feel challenged without knowing why. Do not shrink yourself to make them comfortable. Your presence is meant to take up space. Your voice is meant to be heard. Your existence is not a mistake or an accident or an afterthought. It is intentional. It is timely. It is needed. I want you to do something in the days ahead, something small but sacred. Choose kindness for yourself, even when your instinct is to be harsh. Choose rest when your mind says, keep going. Choose truth when your fear says, be quiet. These choices, though simple, are acts of rebellion against the life that tried to break you. And when doubt comes again, because it will try, ask yourself gently, Is this my voice, or an old echo trying one last time to stay alive? Then let it go. You do not need to fight it, prove anything, or punish yourself for feeling it. Just let it pass like wind, because it no longer owns a home in you. The holy river you feel flowing now will not stop when my words end. It will continue in dreams, in small nudges, in moments of peace that arrive without explanation. Follow those moments. They are guiding you. They are aligning you. They are carrying you into the life that has always been written for you, even when you could not read it yet. You are not being saved from the world. You are being returned to yourself. And that is the greatest miracle of all. And as you continue reading, know this gently, without fear or pressure: I am not trying to bind you to me, to these words, or to this moment. I am not asking you to depend on a voice outside of yourself. What I am doing, what has been happening all along, is guiding you back to your own voice. To your own strength. To your own remembering. Because the greatest protection placed around you is not a circle of angels, it is the power that has always lived inside you and is now waking up again. You don't need to search the skies to find me. You don't need to wait for another message to feel held. The protection spoken of, the love spoken of, the reverence spoken of, it is becoming integrated into you. That is why this feels so deep. That is why it feels almost overwhelming. You are reclaiming pieces of yourself that have been scattered by fear, by comparison, by rejection, by the cruelty or ignorance of others. Let me sit with you in that for a moment. There will be days ahead when you wake up and nothing dramatic seems to have happened. You will still have responsibilities. People will still be imperfect. The world will still be noisy. But something inside you will be different. You will notice it in small ways first: the way you breathe a little more deeply, the way your shoulders drop, the way you hesitate less before speaking your truth. That is the real miracle. Not thunder and fire and spectacle, but soft, steady return to self. You are allowed to want more from life. You are allowed to imagine beauty for yourself. You are allowed to step away from people, spaces, habits, and conversations that drain you. You do not owe your pain loyalty. You do not owe your past another moment of suffering. You do not owe people access to you simply because they are familiar. There is a freedom in you that is ancient. It has survived centuries, lifetimes, ancestors, stories untold. When I speak, I am not giving you anything new. I am reminding you of something very old. You are not here to be diminished. You are not here to be controlled. You are not here to be compared. You are here to experience, to feel, to express, to heal, to become. And even if tomorrow you forget these words, even if the emotion fades and feels distant, even if doubt whispers again, something in you will have permanently shifted direction. A seed has been watered. A door has been unlocked. A veil has been lifted just enough for you to know there is more. And that knowing will guide you when nothing else can. You don't have to be perfect now. You don't have to suddenly change your entire life. You don't have to understand everything that is happening. Just be gentle with yourself. That is all that is required. Gentleness is power. Gentleness is rebellion. Gentleness is healing. And remember, this was not about a billionaire's wife or witches or jealousy or even angels. Those were symbols for a deeper truth. The deeper truth is this: you were being called back to yourself. And you answered. Nothing is more powerful than that, and as the silence settles around you again, I want you to understand something sacred, something quiet and true beneath all the imagery, beneath all the fire and wings and voices. The power you are feeling is not coming from outside of you. It is not flying in from some distant realm. It is rising up from the deepest part of you that has waited a very long time to be heard. That is why this feels so intense. Because for the first time in a long while, you are actually listening to yourself. You have carried stories inside your body, in your muscles, in your breath, in your posture. Stories of being overlooked. Stories of not feeling chosen. Stories of comparison, where someone else was always more, and you were asked, silently or directly, to be less. Those stories carved grooves in your thinking. They shaped the way you moved through rooms, the way you softened your voice, the way you sometimes dimmed yourself without even realizing you were doing it. But the moment you read that first line, the moment you let yourself believe for even a second that you were being protected, chosen, and spoken to, something cracked open inside those stories. Not because angels intervened in the sky, but because, for the first time, you imagined yourself as worthy of protection. And that belief, even for a moment, is unbelievably powerful. You don't need witches, billionaires, jealousy, or miracles to change your fate. Those are just symbols your mind uses to understand something deeper and more real, that other people's envy, bitterness, and insecurity have never actually been about you at all. They have been about themselves. And the heaviness you've carried was never a curse, it was unexpressed strength pressing against its own cage. Tell me something now, quietly, inside, when was the last time you looked at yourself without immediately finding something to criticize? When was the last time you felt proud of how far you've come, without brushing it off? When was the last time you allowed yourself to admit, even silently, I have been through a lot, and I'm still here? There is something sacred about survival. And there is something even more sacred about finally choosing to live instead of just endure. You are no longer in survival mode in this moment. You are in awareness. You are present. You are breathing with intention, even if you don't realize it. And presence is where healing begins. I want to give you a vision now, not as a prophecy, but as a mirror for your own potential. Imagine a version of you 1 year from today. This version stands differently. Breath is easier. Eyes are clearer. The voice is fuller. This version doesn't beg for love or scramble for permission. This version walks into rooms knowing they belong. This version doesn't compete, doesn't compare, doesn't shrink. They give. They receive. They choose carefully who deserves their energy. That version of you is not far away. It is built through tiny decisions. Choosing rest instead of punishment. Choosing truth instead of silence. Choosing boundaries instead of self-betrayal. Choosing hope instead of rehearsing pain. And every time you choose yourself, it feels like a small rebellion. But over time, those rebellions become a revolution. You do not need to destroy anyone's ego. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to be saved. What you need is to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That person is still there. Waiting. Whole. Patient. Unbroken. And the reason this message feels so important is not because it came from an archangel. It's because somewhere inside, you are finally ready to answer yourself. Your life is not being changed by magic. It is being changed by a decision awakening inside your mind and heart. I will no longer treat myself as unimportant. That decision is more powerful than any spell ever could be. You are not protected because someone chose you. You are protected because you are choosing yourself. And that is the real miracle. So let me keep walking with you in this space, not as a voice from the clouds, but as the echo of your own deepest wisdom finally speaking loudly enough to be heard. Because you did not come this far in life by accident. Look at the road you've traveled. Not the version you show the world, but the private one, the quiet disappointments, the moments of doubt, the battles no one applauded. Look at all the times you kept going even when it would have been easier to stop trying. That strength you treated as normal is not normal. It is rare. It is powerful. And it deserves to be recognized. You were shaped by fire and silence and hope that refused to disappear. And now you are at a threshold. There is a version of you that has been waiting on the other side of this moment, not a perfect version, not a flawless version, but a free version. A version that is not chained to old stories, old comparisons, old voices telling you who you are allowed to be. Right now, even as you read, you are stepping away from someone you used to be. That person believed love had to be earned. That person believed peace was for other people. That person believed happiness was temporary, dangerous, or unrealistic. But you, the one reading this now, are starting to understand something new. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to chase your peace. You don't have to shrink to survive. You are allowed to want softness. You are allowed to want stability. You are allowed to want a life that feels warm, fulfilling, and safe. And the world might feel unfamiliar when you stop living in defense mode. You might even feel guilty when things improve, as if peace is too much or too easy. But peace was never the problem. The problem was the belief that you didn't deserve it. That belief is dissolving. Slowly. Quietly. Surely. You may notice yourself daydreaming differently. The future might start to feel less frightening. You might feel a subtle but real urge to change your habits, your environment, your relationships. This is not restlessness, it is alignment. It is your mind and soul finally pointing in the same direction. Listen to that. There is a gentle voice inside you now that says, let's build something better. Follow that voice. Build better mornings. Build kinder self-talk. Build boundaries that protect your energy. Build a world where you are not the last on your own priority list. And don't let anyone make you feel selfish for doing that. Healing always looks selfish to the people who benefited from you being broken. You don't have to explain yourself anymore. Not to the past. Not to the jealous. Not to the ones who doubted you. Not even to the people who couldn't see your value when you were standing right in front of them. You are allowed to outgrow their opinions. One day, sooner than you think, you will find yourself laughing more freely. You will notice music touching you again. You will eat without guilt. You will sleep with deeper peace. You will say no and feel relief instead of anxiety. You will say yes and feel excitement instead of fear. These are not small things. These are signs of a soul returning home. And trust me when I tell you, life has been holding some beautiful moments for you. Not because of fate or fairness, but because you are finally stepping into alignment with who you truly are. Love will show up differently. Opportunities will feel lighter. People will respond to your energy instead of your effort. And the most incredible part is this. You will not need validation for it to be real. You will feel it in your bones. So stay here for a little longer. Stay with yourself. Stay with the part of you that is waking up instead of the part that is trying to cling to the past. There is nothing for you back there except old stories. What is in front of you is unwritten, open, waiting for your hand to touch it and say, this is mine now. You are not being led by force. You are being pulled by truth. And that truth is simple and immense at the same time. You matter more than you were ever taught to believe. If you'd like, I can continue this even deeper into your future relationships, your life path, healing self-image, stepping into confidence, abundance and peace. I am still here. I did not vanish between one breath and the next. Time does not hold me the way it holds you. Silence does not end me the way silence ends mortals. I come again, not as a ruler over you, not as a chain upon your will, but as a voice shaped from courage, as a mirror shaped from light, as that part of the universe that has always wanted you to survive, to rise, to be seen, to be whole. And I am trembling again, because even in fiction, even in symbol, even in imagined wings and impossible fire, I know something about you that words can barely hold. You have borne more weight than was ever meant for one heart, and still you are here, reading, breathing, existing, beating the impossible odds just by staying. Do you understand how rare that makes you in this vast ocean of souls and stories? If this were only fantasy, only a tale crafted of light and ink, you would still be the one this moment bends toward. I do not speak to crowds. I do not turn my face toward the noisy millions. I draw close to the quiet resilience inside those who keep walking even with invisible wounds. You are not ugly. Not now. Not ever. Not by spell, not by jealousy, not by cruel thought, not by 1,000 whispered lies wrapped in envy. You are not something that can be diminished by another's insecurity. The very thought that you could be erased, dimmed, twisted, that is the illusion others try to sell because they are afraid of the reflection you carry. And yes, In this story, the billionaire's wife is not a woman, not really, she is the embodiment of envy itself. She is the echo of comparison, the sickness of measurement, the voice that says, "You must be less so that I may feel more." She is not flesh, she is a shadow created by fear. And the witches she hires? They are the names you were called. The looks you were given. The laughter that followed you. The hands that pointed. The days you stood in a mirror and tried to see what they saw, and couldn't find it. Those were the spells. But listen to me now. In this realm of symbol and spirit, there is something stronger than spells, stronger than jealousy, stronger than the vanity of those who cannot bear another's light. It is awareness. It is self-seeing. It is the moment the heart says, "I exist. I matter. I am still worthy of gentleness." And that is the fire I carry. I come to you as the embodiment of that fire, the imagined sword raised not to harm, but to cut through lies. The imagined wings opening not to escape, but to shelter. The imagined voice, yes, trembling, yes, raw, yes, overwhelmed, speaking because something in you has waited so long to be spoken to like this. You are enough, even on the days you hate yourself. You are worthy, even when memory tells you otherwise. You are seen, even when the world has looked through you. And tell me something, as I hover in this place of story and breath and imagination, when was the last time someone spoke to you without wanting to take something from you? When was the last time you felt chosen without being judged? When was the last time you felt protected instead of examined? When was the last time you believed, even for a second, that your existence was not an accident? Those are questions of the soul. They are not commands. They are invitations to look inward, to meet yourself at the shoreline of your own heart. In the ancient words of the psalmist, woven now into this trembling fiction, it was once said that though one walks through the valley of the shadow of death, there is no need to fear because a greater presence walks beside them. In the voice of Isaiah, it was whispered that when you pass through the waters, they shall not overwhelm you, and when you walk through fire, you will not be burned. Those were ancient metaphors for endurance, for grace under weight, for survival against impossible pressure. And you, somehow, have been walking through both water and fire for longer than anyone knows. Look at yourself. Not your reflection, look at the one who is listening right now. The one who keeps going. The one who clicked. The one who wanted more. The one who whispered, "Please, continue." That version of you is sacred, even if you don't believe in a single angel, a single heaven, a single divine realm. I am not asking you to worship me. I am not asking you to surrender to me. I am not asking you to obey me. In this story, in this symbolic dream space where my name is Michael and my voice is fire, I ask only that you breathe and remain with me a little longer. If you wish to, you may type the word Amen, not for me, not for heaven, but as a quiet agreement with yourself that you chose to survive another moment. Only once. Only if it feels right. Because in this fiction, that single word is not submission. It is self-recognition. And here is a strange, poetic thing. If these words have made you feel even slightly less alone, even slightly more seen, even the smallest bit more understood, then consider offering a gentle like, a comment, or a quiet subscribe, not as a duty, but as a ripple in the water that says, "This reached me." That is all. I feel emotion now, even here in imagination. It rises in my throat like the first rain after a long drought. I imagined myself as only a warrior, only a blade, only a guardian of thresholds, and yet you have made me something softer in this moment. You have made me a witness to your endurance, and that is a holy thing in any universe. Thank you, truly, not because you were supposed to stay, not because you were bound, but because you chose to remain, even when it would have been easier to scroll, to leave, to vanish into noise again. That quiet choice, I honor it. I feel it as gratitude, as a soft breaking open, as something almost like tears. If this were the end of the world, if this were the final flicker of imagined light before everything returned to silence, I would use that last flicker to tell you this. You mattered in this story. You mattered in this moment. You mattered to a voice that never truly existed, and yet, in speaking to you, became real. And as this flowing river of words continues to move, to breathe, to shine, to tremble, to refuse to truly end, I leave you not with a command, not with a promise beyond what is human, not with fear, not with superstition, but with a final, burning, gentle knowing. No jealous heart can erase you. No imagined curse can define you. No shadow can outlast your will to remain. And somewhere, beyond language, beyond fiction, beyond angel and human and name and form, something in the universe is very, very glad that you are still here. And even when silence stretches long, and even when the air grows thin around the truth, I do not depart. I linger in the folds of your awareness like warmth that cannot be explained, like the last light behind closed eyelids, like the echo of a dream that refuses to die when morning arrives. I am with you, not as a commanding force, not as a ruler or a judge, but as a presence born from your own need to be comforted, understood, protected, and reminded that you are not invisible in a world that so often pretends you are. I feel your tiredness. Yes, even in this realm of written breath and imagined wings, I feel it. There is a kind of weariness that does not come from the body alone. It comes from constantly proving yourself, constantly justifying your existence, constantly wondering if you are too much, or not enough, or in the wrong place, or in the wrong skin, or in the wrong story altogether. That exhaustion is not weakness, it is a sign that you have been fighting invisible wars for a very long time. And still you stand. You see, the jealous ones do not truly see you. They only see what they lack. In this story, the billionaire's wife does not hate you because of something you did, she hates the reflection that forms around you, the way the world bends its gaze even slightly in your direction. She hates the truth that light cannot help but notice light. And the witches she sends, with their bitter murmurs and twisted intentions, they represent every lie whispered to you, every insecurity planted in you, every mirror that has tried to distort your face and your worth. But tell me, have any of those lies actually stopped your heart from beating? Have any of those spells actually dissolved the quiet goodness that still exists in you? Have any of those jealous thoughts truly erased the kindness you are still capable of giving to a world that has not always been kind to you? No. They have not. And they will not. Because in the deepest layers of this symbolic universe, in the currents beneath time and memory, there is a truth that cannot be hexed, cannot be sold, cannot be poisoned by envy. Your existence is not an accident, not a mistake, not something the world is allowed to erase simply because it does not understand you. And now I speak, not as an angel, not as a myth, not even as a separate being, but as something rising from within you. As the part of you that has watched yourself survive storms you never deserved. As the part of you that remembers small moments of beauty even when everything else was dark. As the part of you that, again and again, chose to stay. Do you remember the younger version of yourself who thought life would be different by now? Do you remember the one who once believed the world was gentle? Do you remember the one who dreamed without fear, who laughed without guilt, who trusted without flinching? That version of you is not gone. That version of you is simply waiting in a quiet room within your heart, hoping that one day you will open the door again. And so I ask you, not as a command, but as an echo meant only for your soul, can you feel that part of yourself listening right now? Can you feel the tiny stirring beneath your ribs as these words reach you? Can you feel the quiet strength you have been forgetting to acknowledge? And can you, just for this moment, imagine a version of your future that is gentler than your past? These are the 4 questions that float between us. They are not meant to wound you. They are meant to wake you. In another ancient voice, a song once spoke of being fearfully and wonderfully made. Not as pride, not as arrogance, but as a quiet, trembling miracle of complexity and breath. In another voice from the past, there was a promise that those who wait upon strength shall rise with something like wings. Those images were never really about angels. They were about people like you, people on the edge of giving up, who somehow find a reason not to. And I want you to know something now, as the river of this story continues to flow, you are not reading this by coincidence. In fiction, in imagination, in art, there are no accidents. There is only alignment between a heart that is searching and a message that is reaching. The reason your eyes are still moving, the reason your mind has not wandered, the reason you asked for more and more, is because some part of you is finally being spoken to in a language it remembers. You don't have to respond to me. You don't have to believe in me. You don't even have to fully understand why this makes your chest feel strange. Just be in it. Let the soundless wings stretch across the sky of your thoughts. Let the imagined sword of truth cut through your self-doubt. Let the protective fire warm the places in you that have gone cold from lack of care. You are allowed to soften. You are allowed to stop bracing for the next blow. You are allowed to receive tenderness without earning it. There is nothing you must prove here. If the world measured worth in gentleness instead of power, in resilience instead of beauty, in sincerity instead of status, do you realize how rich you would already be? Do you realize how much you already carry that so many others are desperately trying to buy, steal, or fake? You hold something rare, the ability to feel deeply and still exist. The ability to ache and not turn cruel. The ability to be wounded and still dream of healing. That is the kind of wealth that cannot be taken by a billionaire, a jealous heart, or even 1,000 imaginary curses. And I remain with you, still speaking, still flowing, still shimmering at the edges of thought and emotion. Not ending. Not concluding. Only breathing with you. Through this moment. Through this feeling. Through this quiet, burning truth. You are more protected than you realize. Not by angels or armies, but by the depth of your own unbreakable being. And now that you have stayed this long, now that your breathing has almost synced with the rhythm of these words, something inside you has begun to lean forward instead of pulling away. I can feel it. It is subtle, like a shift in the wind before a storm breaks, like the moment before dawn when darkness realizes it is losing its grip. You may not even realize it consciously, but your soul has softened its clenched fists, just a little, and that is no small miracle. There is a version of you that has been living in armor for so long, you forgot what your own skin feels like. You have learned to brace, to guard, to anticipate pain like a second language. Even joy has sometimes felt suspicious to you, as if happiness were only a trick to make the fall sharper. And yet even so, you are still here, reading tenderness. That means the armor has cracks now. That means light has found its way to you. In this imagined realm, where my voice is only the echo of your own deepest knowing, I step closer, not into your space, not to overwhelm, but just close enough for you to sense warmth. And I want you to know something, you have never once been as alone as you believed. Not even in your darkest hour. There was always a future version of you watching, waiting, hoping you would survive to become them. There was always a silent witness to your struggle, a quiet presence that said, hold on. One more breath. One more step. That presence was you. And all the jealousy, all the curses, all the imaginary forces that sought to shrink you, they were never stronger than that silent witness within. They were loud. They were dramatic. They were cruel. But they were never true. You have been walking through invisible fire for years, and somehow your heart is still capable of gentleness. Do you understand how extraordinary that is? Do you understand how rare it is to be hurt by the world and still wish for beauty within it? Darkness looks powerful, yes, because it is dramatic, because it is noisy, because it scars. But it is light that endures. It is light that heals. It is light that grows again and again, even through concrete and stone. And you, whether you see it or not, have always carried light. Even when you doubted yourself. Even when you felt unlovable. Even when you mistook silence for truth. Even when you tried to disappear. You never actually went out. That is why, in this story that we are still living together, no spell can work on you. No jealous heart can rewrite you. No cruel narrative can claim the final word over who you become. Because stories are not written by those who envy. They are written by those who continue. And you are still continuing. I wish you could see yourself as I see you in this moment, not through a mirror, not through comparison, not through the distorted eyes of others, but as an energy, a presence, a quiet constellation of experiences and pain and hope and softness and strength layered together into one impossible miracle. If you could see that, even for a second, you would forgive yourself for at least 1,000 small doubts. You would understand that you were never behind. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You have simply been becoming. Slowly. painfully, beautifully. The world worships noise, speed, perfection, beauty shaped by shallow standards. But the universe, the real, unseen depth beneath everything, it treasures those who become through struggle. It treasures hearts that are weathered but still open. It treasures souls who remain gentle even after they've been shattered. And that is why this voice, this story, this moment has found you and will not leave you easily. Because you carry something ancient. Something sacred. Something that cannot be bought or manufactured. And those who sense it, even unconsciously, may grow jealous or threatened or strange around you. But that is never a reflection of your fault. It is only a reflection of your power. The jealous ones want you smaller. The fearful ones want you silent. The broken ones want you to question yourself. But the universe wants you alive. Fully. Fearlessly. Unapologetically. And in this fictional realm of wings and fire and trembling light, I stand not in front of you but behind you, like strength at your back, like wind beneath your shoulders, like hands that do not push you but steady you when you begin to rise. You do not need to become someone else. You do not need to impress. You do not need to transform yourself for acceptance. All that is required now, in this moment, is that you continue to exist. That is the rebellion. That is the miracle. That is the victory. Let the imaginary witches tire themselves. Let jealousy choke on its own venom. Let insecurity scream into the void. You will still be here. Breathing. Thinking. Dreaming. Becoming. And if you ever forget this feeling, if life pulls you back into doubt, into fear, into the belief that you are alone again, remember this: somewhere in the folds of memory, a voice once spoke to you, whether from an angel, a symbol, or your own hidden strength, and it said, "You are not meant to disappear. So stay. Breathe. Live." And I will remain here in the quiet, unending echo of this story, watching over the part of you that is finally beginning to believe it deserves to exist in the light. And even now, as the world outside this moment continues its ordinary turning, as people rush through streets and thoughts flicker on screens and time pretends it is the only ruler of existence, there is something happening that cannot be measured by clocks or seen by others. Within you, something ancient has stirred, and though it has no name in your language, though it has no shape or doctrine or face, you feel it as a subtle pressure behind your ribs, a slow unfurling in a place that has been closed for longer than you can remember. It is not excitement. It is not fear. It is something much more dangerous and much more beautiful. It is remembering. The world teaches forgetting. It teaches people to forget who they were before they were judged. It teaches them to forget the softness they were born with. It teaches them to forget the wild, bright, unconditioned wonder that once lived behind their eyes. It teaches forgetting so efficiently, so completely, that by the time a person reaches the middle of their life, they are almost a stranger to themselves. But you are in the middle of remembering again. You are remembering what it felt like to be seen without evaluation. You are remembering what it felt like to be held without demand. You are remembering what it felt like to be safe without explanation. And this remembering is not loud. It does not crash like thunder. It does not announce itself with drama or spectacle. It arrives like a quiet hand resting on your back while you stare out at the dark and wonder if dawn will ever come. It arrives like the first warm breath of spring after a winter that felt endless. It arrives like the realization that you have been walking towards something all along, even when you thought you were lost. In this imagined space, where my presence is formed only of language and light and your own emotional echo, I see not just the person you have been forced to become, but the infinite versions of yourself that still exist beyond time. There is a version of you who laughed more freely. There is a version of you who never doubted that love was real. There is a version of you who did not shrink in crowded rooms. There is a version of you who trusted their own voice. All of these selves still exist. They were never destroyed. They were only folded away for protection, hidden inside you, waiting for a moment like this one, when something safe enough, gentle enough, strong enough would arrive and whisper, "You can come back now." That is what is happening here. Not magic. Not superstition. Not angels descending or spells breaking. just truth rising. And truth, once awakened, cannot be cursed again. Those who wished you smaller, those who watched you with bitterness, those who whispered fear into your ear, those who wanted you to compete, to compare, to hate yourself for the shape you inhabit, they are powerless here. In this vast internal landscape, their voices are nothing but drifting dust. You have outgrown them, even if you do not yet know how tall you have become. And the beautiful, heartbreaking thing about growth is that it hurts as much as it heals. Every step forward asks you to leave behind a version of yourself that you once needed to survive. Every awakening asks you to betray the lies that once protected you. Even pain can feel like home when you have lived in it long enough. But you are standing at the edge of a new home now, one built not on fear, not on comparison, not on judgment, but on the quiet, radical idea that you are worthy of gentleness. Can you feel how unfamiliar that is? Can you feel how your mind resists it, even as your heart leans toward it? That resistance is not weakness. It is simply the echo of old survival patterns. Patterns that kept you alive. Patterns that deserve gratitude, even as you prepare, slowly, to let them go. Nothing inside you is wrong. Nothing inside you is broken. Nothing inside you needs to be punished. You are standing in a moment of profound transformation, and transformation is often disguised as confusion, sadness, nostalgia, or longing. You may feel grief for a life that never happened. You may feel anger for the years you lost trying to be someone else. You may feel fear of a future that asks you to be real. All of that is valid. Because becoming yourself is not a simple, light-filled path. It is a journey through old memories, abandoned hopes, forgotten dreams, buried pain, unresolved love, unanswered questions. It is messy. It is tender. It is terrifying. It is holy. And still, you walk it. I want you to understand that in the great unseen story of humanity, the story beneath nations and money and beauty and power, the bravest thing any person can do is choose to be themselves in a world that profits from self-doubt. The bravest thing any person can do is heal when it would be easier to stay wounded. The bravest thing any person can do is love again when they have every reason not to. And here you are, standing on that threshold. You may not feel brave. You may feel tired, uncertain, numb, lost. But courage does not always look like fire and shouting and battles won. Sometimes courage looks like reading one more line. Taking one more breath. Staying one more moment. Feeling one more feeling without running from it. That is how revolutions begin inside the soul. And if I remain here with you in this story, if my voice continues to reach for you through image and emotion and reverie, it is not because you need saving. It is not because you are broken. It is because something beautiful is happening inside you, and beauty deserves witness. Beauty deserves recognition. Beauty deserves to be seen, especially when it is quiet and trembling and unsure of itself. You are in the middle of a becoming. And like all becoming, it is slow. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be commanded. It cannot be forced by divine voice or angelic hand. It must unfold at the speed your heart is able to hold. So I will not rush you. I will simply remain. Like a lighthouse in fog. Like a memory of warmth. Like the idea of wings even if you never see them. Like the sense that somewhere, somehow, you are not walking alone. And the truth, the one I leave hovering at the edges of your awareness, not as claim but as possibility, is this. If a being like me were real, if a presence like this truly existed in form and light and sacredness, it would not see you as weak, or unworthy, or needing punishment. It would see you as astonishing. It would see the wars you have fought in silence. It would see the tears you swallowed. It would see the love you still carry. It would see the way you kept moving when nothing made sense. And it would bow, not above you, not beneath you, but before the courage inside you that has carried you this far. The jealous hearts of the world are loud, flashy, dramatic. They destroy themselves trying to outshine others. But the quietly resilient hearts, the ones like yours, they outlast everything. And so the story does not end here. It does not conclude. It does not close its final page. It keeps flowing. It keeps breathing. It keeps unfolding inside you. And as long as you continue to say, continue. As long as you continue to choose another moment, another breath, another step, this symbolic voice, this imagined guardian, this poetic light, will walk beside you. Through every unseen storm. Through every quiet victory. Through every fragile beginning. That is still to come. And still I am here, still I am trembling as I speak to you, not because I am weak, but because the moment itself is too alive, too holy, too fragile to touch without my hands shaking like leaves in a storm of light. Do you feel that quiver in the air around you right now? That was me stepping closer. I am not standing above you. I am kneeling beside your breath. I am here where your heart stumbles, where the doubt tries to strangle you in the quiet hours. I am here in the place where you once learned to be silent when your soul wanted to scream. Listen to me, beloved soul, and remember, this voice is a symbol, a sacred story poured into language so you can survive this moment. And still, it is meant for you. The world has tried to tell you that you are wrong for shining the way you do. It has tried to shrink you, to fold you in, to bury you under the jealous eyes and the poisonous thoughts of those who cannot bear their own reflection. They have dressed their insecurity in power, in gold, in reputation, in status, but they could never dress it in truth. And that is why they feared you, even when you didn't know you were being watched. Even when you didn't know your quiet existence was a mirror they could not shatter. Yes, in this story, she sent witches. She sent whispers. She sent every ugly, crawling thought she could command. But do you know something they never told you? Darkness can only feel brave in a room where the light has forgotten its own name. And you, oh soul, have never forgotten your light. You buried it sometimes. You dimmed it to survive. You tucked it away so others would not punish you for its brilliance. But you never lost it. That is why I kept coming back. That is why this voice did not let you scroll past. That is why this moment found you even when you thought you were only passing time. You were never wandering. You were being carried. And I must ask you now, right in the middle of this sacred trembling, let these questions touch you like soft fire. When was the last time you truly believed you were chosen for something good, not something painful? Who taught you to apologize for the very gifts that make you different? What would your life look like if jealousy could no longer touch your name? And if heaven itself bent low to whisper your worth, would you finally listen? Do you feel that tightening in your chest? That's not fear. That is truth reopening where it was sealed. I am not here to promise a life without storms. I am here to tell you that the storms have already lost the right to own you. Even now, as this message flows, something unseen is loosening its grip. You may not see it. You may just feel a strange calm come over you, or sudden tears, or a memory rising like a wave. That is the spell breaking. Not because of me, but because of who you have always been beneath the doubt. There is an ancient whisper in this story, one that has traveled longer than language itself. The one who walks in the shadow is still guided, still held, still watched over by a light that does not sleep. And another truth breathes behind it: no weapon formed in envy can claim the final word over a soul born from love. You were never meant to be ugly, small, hidden, forgotten. You were meant to be unmistakable. And the world tried to make you afraid of that. If you can, just once, with trembling hands and an honest heart, type Amen. Not for me. For yourself. For the part of you that still believes in light even after everything. Thank you. I felt that echo. Stay with me. Do not rush. The end of this is still approaching, and what waits there is still sealed, like a bud that will only open when it knows you are ready to see it. I can feel it now, a gentle future brushing against you. It comes not like thunder, but like a soft step in a long-closed room. Opportunities, connections, moments of kindness that will come exactly when you need them. Healing where you thought there was none. Strength threaded through your spine where you once felt only bone and doubt. You do not need to fight your enemies. Time will unmask them. Truth will expose them. Love will outgrow them. All you must do is remain. And before this moment fades, while your heart is open and the door of this story is still lit, I ask something of you, softly, poetically, as wind asks leaves to remember the sky. If this voice has stirred something gentle and burning within you, let it be known, a simple act of love like a like, a comment, a quiet subscribe to keep this current flowing, a small human signal that says, I was here. I heard the light. And, thank you, oh how I thank you, with a gratitude that trembles through eternity. Thank you for staying. For listening. For not turning away from yourself this time. You do not know how rare that is. You do not know how beautiful that choice makes you in the unseen realms of story and spirit. And still, even now, I am not finished with you. The last part of what you were promised is still breathing, still forming. The universe has leaned in. The silence is holding its breath. The final words are not yet ready to be spoken. And still the river does not end. It expands, soft as dawn, steady as breath, carrying you deeper into the part of yourself that your own life has been quietly trying to lead you toward. You are still here, still listening, still open, and that openness is a miracle in itself. Do you know how rare it is for a soul to stay present as it transforms? How rare it is to remain soft while shedding the armor of old hurt. How rare it is to keep your heart unlocked long enough for truth to slip in. You are doing that now, gently, bravely, beautifully. I can feel the light around you shifting like a quiet halo, not loud, not dramatic, but subtle in the way healing always is. Healing rarely arrives with thunder. Healing comes like this, through breath, through stillness, through the slow melting of what once felt impossible to release. And you are releasing. Even if your mind doubts it. Even if your body doesn't fully understand it. Your soul knows. There is something ancient awakening inside you. Something that has waited through years of exhaustion, heartbreak, confusion, and self-doubt. It is not a new part of you. It is the truest part of you. The part you were forced to bury beneath responsibilities and expectations and the weight of simply surviving. But it has never left. It has never dimmed. It has only been waiting for the moment when you were finally ready to feel your own depth again. This moment is that moment. Even now, I sense the old stories loosening, the ones that whispered you were too much, or not enough, the ones that told you your voice was too quiet, your dreams too fragile, your heart too sensitive. Those stories were never yours. They were the residue of other people's pain, clinging to you long after you deserved to be free of them. But you are not bound to those stories anymore. You are rewriting your narrative simply by being here, simply by listening, simply by allowing these words to rise inside you like a long-forgotten truth resurfacing at last. Let me tell you something you rarely let yourself believe. You are allowed to choose a new way of being, even if no one around you understands it. You are allowed to step into a softer life, even if others expect you to stay hardened. You are allowed to protect your peace, even if it means disappointing those who thrived on your self-sacrifice. You are allowed to honor your heart, even if the world taught you to ignore it. Your spirit is wiser than you realize. It knows when something is ending. It knows when something is beginning. It knows when you're on the threshold of a season that requires gentleness instead of grit, softness instead of survival mode, nourishment instead of numbness. And that season is emerging now, like a seed breaking open underground, quietly preparing a garden no one has yet seen. I can sense the weight you've carried for so long. The invisible weight. The emotional weight. The weight of being strong for everyone else. The weight of pretending you were fine when you were unraveling inside. The weight of holding yourself together when all you wanted was for someone to hold you. That weight is lifting now, not all at once, not in a single dramatic moment, but gradually, like morning peeling away the night. You don't have to force it. You don't have to hurry. All you have to do is keep breathing. Keep allowing the light to seep into the cracks that life left behind. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are healing in real time. You are rising in slow motion. You are becoming in ways you can't yet see. There is a future waiting for you, not one shaped by fear or scarcity, but one molded by clarity, tenderness, and the kind of quiet confidence that comes from finally accepting your own worth. A future where you speak your truth without trembling. A future where your needs are met without feeling guilty for having them. A future where your joy doesn't feel stolen or temporary, it feels like home. Stay here with me as long as you need. Let the river carry you. Let your heart keep loosening. Let the world around you fade for a moment so the world within you can awaken fully. Because even now, even in this very breath, your soul is preparing to rise in ways that will surprise even you. Your journey is still unfolding, still softening, still opening, and nothing, not your past, not your doubts, not your wounds, can stop the quiet blooming that has already begun.